Chairman Peterson, members of the committee. Talk through this thing. Appreciate your being so generous with your time this morning, members. And I'm here in my capacity representing the Kansas County Treasurers Association, as Senator Peterson just told you. We have a series of slides and some information that we want you to be aware of. There's the complexity of what these folks deal with on a day-to-day basis. And, you know, everybody's favorite thing is when they go in to get their tag renewed or something. And we want to point out all of the pieces in that make it, you know, maybe more complicated than it needs to be. And so things we're going to talk about are, who are these guys, Kansas County Treasurers Association? What are they about? What their role is, because they do a lot of things that are for the state, actually, and not necessarily for the county. Got some case studies on a small, large, medium counties. And we want to update you on some of the things that have developed as a result of the pandemic, things that may very well be carried over as they've tried to adapt and continue to provide their input. So before we get started on the presentation, I had two people I wanted to introduce you to, and I don't know if Nancy Weeks ever made it on or not.
She is on.
Is she? Fantastic. All right. So April Hall. April is the Sherman County Treasurer, and she's the current president of the Treasurers Association. And Nancy Weeks is our legislative chair for the Treasurers Association. Many of you should know Nancy. And just give us a wave, April. There you go. So, and a little bit about these guys, just so you know the kind of the caliber of folks that you're dealing with. These are all really highly trained, highly skilled professionals. April's been a Sherman County Treasurer since 2012. And prior to that, she worked 6 years at Kennedy & Co. And before that, 16 years at the USDA Farm Services Agency. She's a certified Kansas County finance executive. And both she and Nancy have little notes, I think, in the presentation for you guys. And then Nancy Weeks is the Haskell County Treasurer, legislative chair for KCTA. She's served as the Haskell County Treasurer since 1975. She's a certified Kansas County finance executive, served as the KCTA president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, as well as president of the National Association of County Treasurers, Collectors, and Finance Officers. And yeah, with missing an extra hour's sleep, that's hard to say this early in the morning. The acronym for that is NACFO, which is also not all that easy. So thank you guys for indulging. And our first presenter is Joe Grisolano. Joe was elected Crawford County Treasurer in November 2004. Prior to that, he served as the Crawford County Deputy Appraiser for 18 years. He's been involved with the association since 2007 and has served in all those varieties of capacities, Secretary, Vice President, and President. And at one point was also the president of the Kansas County Officials Association in 2012. So, Joe, if you want to come up.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, Chairman Peterson and committee members. We'd like to thank you for allowing us some time today to provide an informational update about current events in county treasurer's offices across Kansas. Next slide. Back, the next slide. There we go. Thank you. The Kansas County Treasurers Association, KCTA, was established in 1946 as a statewide organization made up of all 105 county treasurers. KCTA was formed with the purpose of providing mutual assistance, building a more uniform system of keeping accounts in the treasurer's office, and to advocate for the association through the Kansas Legislature. Our mission statement includes these ideals: to enhance the professional credentials of our members, to maintain high ethical standards within the association, and to ensure all Kansas County treasurers are equitable, fair, and financially responsible to the citizens of Kansas. Next slide, please. KCTA holds an annual conference where officers are elected, a business meeting is held, and certification classes are offered to provide educational opportunities for members. Additionally, we host an annual legislative conference in February that includes a reception with all of you, that allows our members to network with their legislators. This year, we were unable to host the reception, but we hope to continue that event again next year. We have several standing committees. One of them is the Treasurer Support Committee, made up of experienced treasurers that provide assistance for any county treasurer needing help or direction. KCTA maintains an educational certification program through Fort Hays State University. Day-long classroom-style courses are offered at each conference, and we also offer several online classes. These courses help treasurers sharpen skills, broaden knowledge, discover new trends, and share experiences and best practices. Treasurers work to earn higher levels of education certification. A county treasurer must complete 102 classroom hours to achieve the highest education level, the Certified Kansas County Finance Executive. Kansas County treasurers are also active in the National Association of County Collectors, Treasurers, and Finance Officers, or NACTFO, the national professional organization for county tax collectors, treasurers, and finance professionals all across the United States. Similar to KCTA, NACTFO partners with the Wayne State University in Detroit to provide education certification. Many Kansas County treasurers have achieved certification levels through NACTFO. Several serve as committee chairs or committee members. 5 Kansans have served as president of our National Association, and 3 have been recognized as the outstanding county treasurer in the United States by NACTFO. Next slide, please. Kansas County treasurers have many duties and responsibilities. Probably the ones most recognized by Kansas citizens are the collection and distribution of property taxes for all taxing authorities. County treasurers send tax bills that include tax levies for the state, cities, schools, hospital districts, rural fire departments, townships, counties, and all other local taxing entities. All property tax dollars are collected and distributed by the county treasurer. Some additional duties of county treasurers include acting as the depository for county funds from all departments, keeping detailed records, fund and account reconciliation, and the investing and safekeeping of all county funds. County treasurers also act as agents of the state for the titling and registration of motor vehicles. Additionally, 84 county treasurers offer commercial vehicle registration services, 79 offer driver's license services, and 9 offer IRP, International Registration Plan services, for interstate commerce carriers. Duties of the county treasurer have expanded in recent years due to a shift in responsibilities from the state to the county for title and registration work. Even in the smallest counties, the county treasurer deals with large amounts of money. Treasurers utilize many forms of modern technology for cash management. These methods include not only cash and checks, but credit and debit cards, ACH and EFT payments, and wire transfers are all tools utilized for receiving and dispersing of funds. At the end of our presentation, I would be happy to answer questions. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Shiloh Hager, and Senator Hawk knows Shiloh pretty well. She's a Riley County Treasurer. She was elected in 2014 to that position. Prior to that, she worked in the office as the Tax and Accounting Supervisor for 10 years. She's been involved with the Kansas County Treasurers Association, serving as the association's Vice President and President, as well as serving on the Legislative Committee. She's a certified Kansas County Finance Executive and has a bachelor's in accounting from Kansas State University. Shiloh.
Welcome to the committee.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this morning. As Joe mentioned, he gave you what a lot of our roles are, and what I'm going to talk about this morning is kind of give you a financial picture of the largest role that we perform, and that as agents of the state doing the motor vehicle operations. As he mentioned, we do titling and registering of vehicles, but many counties have taken on other responsibilities such as driver's license renewals and commercial vehicle registrations. And we take pride in the work that we provide and the benefit that it is to our constituents. But all of these services do come at a cost. Since 2012 and the implementation of the movers system, the county treasurer has taken on a lot of additional work that had previously been performed at the state level, such as title approving. This additional work has made it necessary for many offices across the state to hire additional staff. Also, the movers system requires additional equipment to perform the transactions. Initially, this equipment was provided by the state, and now the maintenance and replacement of this equipment lies solely with the county. The next slides will show 3 case studies and how they relate to the motor vehicle fees collected and the costs associated with managing the motor vehicle operations. We have demonstrated a small, medium, and large county, and over the past few years, we have polled our county treasurers across the state, and the picture is very similar. Within a typical motor vehicle titling transaction, we collect personal property taxes, registration fees, sales tax, and several miscellaneous fees. The property tax and sales tax are distributed to various taxing entities, including the state of Kansas. On the Riley County case study, you can see of the total property tax collected, 1.24% was distributed back to the state, and the rest is divided among the various entities within Riley County. The same can be seen for our commercial motor vehicle fees and our recreational vehicle property taxes. The balance of the motor vehicle registration fees collected are disproportionately split between the county and the state. In the example for my county, you can see here that of the total motor vehicle fees collected, 86% was sent into the state and 14% was retained by the county. This inequity is also demonstrated in our small and large county cases. The fees that we do retain, the intention is to support the motor vehicle operations in the county. Unfortunately, the fees are not enough to cover the costs, which requires the shortage to be subsidized by the general fund. And just to give you an example, in my county, I have 13 employees that perform motor vehicle transactions for about 90% of the day. However, I am only able to pay for 4 of those staff members with my motor vehicle fees. The rest is subsidized by the general fund and ad valorem tax dollars. And as you can see on my example, in 2020, that represented about a $452,000 deficit. Can you go to the next slide, please? And you can see on the small, this is Haskell County, which is a small county. You see the same deficit. And the next slide, please. You'll see that's what Johnson County looked like in 2020. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many counties had to close their doors to the public or had limited access to the county office buildings. This led to a significant decrease in the amount of facility fees collected. You can see in the Johnson County case study the effect that the loss of these facility fees had on the revenue compared from 2019 to 2020. The facility fee is a big part of the revenue stream for many counties. One thing many counties learned during the pandemic was the ability to provide services to customers through means other than in person. And we see that these types of changes are going to go forward into the future. This means counties that relied on those facility fees will need to find other ways to supplement their revenue. Next slide, please. This is just an example of what our current fee structure looks like, and it's very complex because it's made up of several different parts. The primary fee that the county retains on motor vehicle transactions is the county's service fee, which hasn't changed since 2006. In counties, you can see retain a few fees for different types of transactions. However, they're not separated out on the receipt that the customer receives. It makes it difficult for us to explain, and it's not very transparent to our customers. And just to give you an example, for every registration, the county treasurer retains 75 cents, and for every title, we get $2 out of the $10 title fee. And on the next slide, we'll show one of our receipts. And the part in black is what the receipt actually looks like to the customer. And what we've done is we've broke out in red and in blue what the state receives and what the county retains. And you can see by all of the different fees here that it is it's not very transparent to our customers and is potentially confusing. It is our intention by showing you all of this information that hopefully it will allow us to open up a dialogue where we may revisit the motor vehicle fee structure sometime in the future. It is the goal of the County Treasurers Association to see a fee structure that embodies the following goals: transparency, where every customer would know exactly what they're paying for; sustainability, a fee that would fully cover the cost of the motor vehicle operation at the county level; consistency, this fee that would eliminate the need to have a facility fee, which makes the fees consistent among all the counties; and innovation, which allows the counties to have funds required to replace computer equipment, allows counties to look at technology improvements such as kiosks and queuing systems that will help improve the delivery of services to our customers. And like Joe says at the end, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you once again, committee, for your time and indulgence. Our next speaker is Larry Ma, and Larry is the Shawnee County Treasurer. And Senator Dietrich, having lived through some previous occurrences, is very appreciative of Larry, I suspect, as all of us are. So just a little bit about Larry. He is the Shawnee County Treasurer, and he's been in that office since 2013. Larry retired from Southwestern Bell AT&T with 30 years experience as an engineer and general manager. His last assignment with SBC was a general manager of a 4-state region for high-capacity design circuits. You'll have to ask Larry what that means. But he is a well-accomplished guy, and he has been fantastic as a treasurer for us here in Shawnee County. And Larry, come on up.
Welcome back to committee, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, committee members, for this opportunity to speak to you today. I actually have the honor to speak to you for just a couple of minutes about the actually terrific job that the treasurers and their staffs performed last year under very difficult situations. I think you all would appreciate and understand that paying taxes and registering motor vehicles is never going to be at the top of anybody's favorite to-do list. And certainly the threat of infection and the restricted access to our offices didn't help our popularity. We, like everyone else, felt the impact of social distancing, school closing, staff members being in quarantine, and in particular, the frustrations of the public. We were one of the few government offices open to the public during this time, and as you know, you appreciate yourself how frustrated the public was with COVID, and that frustration was directed at the governmental entities in many cases. During the last 14 months, our operations have undergone significant changes. If we can go to the next slide, please. The KCTA conducted a survey. We had 82 respondents, and as you can see from the chart, the impact on the various counties varied, depended on the facility configuration of the county, the size of the county, as well as the county health officer mandates. Next slide, please. Our offices constructed physical barriers in the form of plexiglass. They also implemented restricted access policies. The workspaces were modified, and we implemented mask-wearing policies to reduce the transmission of the virus within our workforce. Where possible, employees were permitted to work from home. The online renewal system was enhanced to allow for renewal of expired plates. To reduce wait times and control crowd sizes, 6 counties implemented new queuing systems, and 16 supplemented their queuing systems with online appointment systems. Several counties deployed processes to register newly purchased vehicles by mail or drop-off. to eliminate the direct contact. The title by mail and appointment systems have proven so popular that they'll probably remain in some form after COVID is gone. 37 counties installed drop boxes for property tax payments and motor vehicle documents. Johnson County had a self-service renewal kiosk. Next slide, please. There we go. It proved very beneficial during this time. Sedgwick and Shawnee County are looking to bring self-service kiosks online later this year. On a much less technical level, the continuity of service was achieved by the treasurers and their staff by working with taxpayers. They found innovative ways to serve the taxpayers in parking lots and at tables set up on the sidewalks in front of courthouses. And despite the potential for exposure to the virus, the county treasurers and their staff were able to adapt and persevere. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Chairman, members of the committee, Larry was our last official speaker, so if you guys do have some questions for these folks about anything they've talked about or maybe anything they haven't, this would be a good time to address those with them, I think. And really, we were trying to give you something to work from when you have some new members on the committee. I don't know how many of the folks that you do have are very familiar with the treasurers and their actual duties and just how much they do, how many of their duties are really as agents for the state. And something I don't think was mentioned, that is that the state actually did away with its counter prior pandemic. I mean, if you want to get something done with your tags and like, you have to go to a county treasurer. They've had it pushed out to the point where they're the only folks that do it, really. I want to make sure you guys, had an idea about the complexity of the fees that are charged and just how they aren't very transparent. So that's something that we want to drive towards, is more transparency and understandability and predictability across the state for Kansas citizens, and appreciate it very much, Chairman.
Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the self-service renewal kiosks, can someone just explain what you can self-renew? What kind of things you can renew and what you need to bring, and just a little more detail? Thank you. Because I may utilize that if we're going that way.
Yes, this is actually something that I've dreamed about for the last 8 years. Johnson County should get all the credit for moving this forward. They implemented their self-serve kiosks, about 2 years ago? What that is it is a kiosk, and you walk up to it. You can renew your tags, and you'll get a printout. You don't get the decal, but you'll get a printout that's good for 10 days, and then that is processed by the treasurer's office, and your decals are mailed to you. It allows you to interact with a machine and not have to wait for a clerk. Right now, it's limited to renewals. And actually, my vision is that someday we'll use that kiosk to not only do renewals for a motor vehicle, but you might apply that to paying for your taxes or even your utility bills and partner with other entities of government.
That really, may I follow up with a question? So that was kind of the last piece of that question. If you're renewing your plates, how do you pay for it at the?
You can pay by cash. The kiosk can be configured to collect cash. It will not give change back, but you can pay by cash, credit card. So that it gives us an opportunity to maybe put those. Right now, they're in Johnson County's office. My vision would be someday you might be able to, 24 hours, 7 days a week, walk into a Walmart or a Dillon store here in Shawnee County and be able to renew your tags.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
And it's about driver's license renewals. 2 years ago, we were getting a lot of phone calls about the real ID process and how to renew, and I haven't heard a thing about that this year, not one person has complained. So are we moving right along? I know there's been a little bit of an extension.
I don't do driver's license, so I'm going to be speaking. Joe, do you do driver's license? We do. Yeah, I'll let Joe speak to that
Thank
then.
you, thank you.
Probably Shiloh would be better than me to speak, but we do driver's license renewals.
You need to use your microphone.
Sorry about that. We do driver's license renewals in our office in Crawford County, and the Real ID deadline has been extended for another year to October 2021, correct? It was supposed to take effect in October of 2020. And actually, at first, we had a lot of complaints about it in our office, but I think people are finally getting used to the fact that if they want the Real ID, that the additional paperwork they're going to have to provide to us, and it's gone relatively smoothly. We do have some folks that choose not to opt for the Real ID option, which is fine. We're able to renew their license regardless. And even if we try to work with them if they don't have all the paperwork they need, but they need to get their license renewed, we go ahead and have them renew their license without the Real ID, and then we can add that anytime later. So it's going much smoother than it did in the first. Yeah, there was a lot of confusion at first. I will admit that.
Thank you so much. You all do such good work. Appreciate it.
Committee, further questions? I have one. A couple years ago, we started collecting the hybrid registration fee. Is that shown on the receipts? We collect the extra money for the vehicles to replace the motor fuels tax?
It just lists it on the receipt as part of the registration. So a regular vehicle, the registration is $30, and on a hybrid or an electric vehicle, it would just show the higher fee. It doesn't actually spell it out that it's a hybrid or it's an electric. It just has a higher dollar value shown on the receipt.
Excellent. And Shiloh, would you state your name for the people listening online?
I'm sorry, Shiloh Hager, Riley County Treasurer.
Thank you. Committee, further questions? Do we have any
I have
online
one.
senators that are wishing to ask a question?
I have
Senator.
one, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Senator Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for probably one of the county treasurers. How have collections gone due to the pandemic? Are they about the same? Are they down? And that would be particularly for property taxes. Are there more taxpayers in arrears than what has been prior to the pandemic, or do we know yet? And the same with the other taxes you collect.
Being the larger county in Shawnee, I will answer that question. From a property tax perspective, we're within 1% of our normal. Pretty amazing that people paid their taxes even though we had a pandemic going on. From a motor vehicle standpoint, we in Shawnee County noticed about a 20% drop in new vehicle registrations last year. Now that was a little bit skewed because they were given a lengthened time to register the vehicle, so they tended to come in later. So far this year, I've noticed that trend continues to be around 20% below normal. From a renewal standpoint, we are right on where we should be. We made up all the difference by the end of the year, and so far this year, we are within 1% of what you would normally expect for a renewal. So it doesn't seem to have had any impact on motor vehicle other than fewer cars being sold or registered as newly purchased.
Larry, also, could you state your name and county for the people?
Larry Ma again, Shawnee County.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Further
Mr. Chairman.
questions?
Just follow up. Is that the case with some of the other counties? Would that be the guesstimate?
I'm going to look back here at my three other county treasurers, and they're going to nod or shake their head.
This is Shiloh Hager, Riley County Treasurer, and we've seen the very similar numbers in Riley County. We are also within about 1% of our property tax and real estate tax collections for this tax year. We are right on track with our renewals, and In Riley County, I feel like we've seen about the same number of titles as we did last year as well. So we've been able to keep caught up and have not seen a significant decrease in any of those areas.
Joe Grizzolano, Crawford
Thank
County
you
Treasurer.
very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Joe, if you want to go ahead and state your county, and we'll go to Johnson County.
Okay, I was just going to say that in Crawford County, we're kind of the same way. As far as percentage of our total tax abstract, we are almost identical percentage-wise in the past year that we were the prior year for property tax collections. And on motor vehicle transactions, actually in 2020 over 2019, we did more motor vehicle transactions in 2020 than we did in 2019. It's something that we have to monitor, and not a large amount more, but there were more transactions. And I'll just add, we have a county sales tax. Our county sales tax was up in 2020. The only real revenue that I can say we were down countywide was gaming revenue from the casino, because it was closed for 2 months. So we were down gaming revenue from the casino, and transient guest tax was down quite a bit from 2020 over 2019. Thank you.
Morning, Amy Meekerberg, Johnson County Deputy Treasurer. Very much like the other treasurers have mentioned, we are seeing our property taxes that we collected over 99% of our abstract. This is very similar to what we would have collected in previous years. On the motor vehicle side specifically, we have seen a decrease in our title transactions, much to what Larry mentioned earlier. We saw roughly a 17% decrease in titling of newly purchased vehicles. That in turn has a huge impact on our fees to support the motor vehicle operation. As you could see in our example, in our case study, we took a significant hit in the fee revenue that we use to support the operation, the processes of titling and registering vehicles overall, and that had a big impact on Johnson County, as you can see in our case study. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, further questions? Seeing none, I'd like to thank you all for showing up and providing the presentation today. Committee, those of you that aren't here, you will have these slide decks in your folders where you can review them at your appropriate time. I may note you may want to keep these because there's contact information for Steve Kearney, April Hall, and Nancy Weeks in there, or you can always contact your local county treasurer. With that, no further business coming before the committee. We are adjourned.